what Donald Trump said, with this, coalition of peace, whatever. And then I don't know what
Peace
is
board.
something of peace that he's
Yeah.
something of
No.
peace that he's gathering. And here is what he said about B-2 bombers.
Keys to it was when we took those beautiful, magnificent, we just ordered 22 more of them, updated model. The B-2 bombers are incredible. I never understood the B-2 bomber. I'd watch, it's a wing. And I've never quite understood that, Johnny. I'd look at it, I'd say it was beautiful, but what does it do? It carries very big bombs. And it went into Iran, and it totally decimated the nuclear potential. And when it decimated that, all of a sudden we had peace in the Middle East, because there was a black cloud hanging over the Middle East, and if that wasn't done, that cloud would have been there. And countries like Saudi Arabia, countries like Qatar, countries like, nobody could have signed. You would have had that threat. You couldn't have had peace in the Middle East. So now we may have to take it a step further, or we may not. Maybe we're going to make a deal. You're going to be finding out over the next probably 10 days.
Yeah. Andrei, what has happened before coming to this live? We've learned from the Wall Street Journal that Iran rejected the U.S. proposal that was presented during the negotiations in Geneva last week. Yeah. And they offered modest concession on its nuclear program. U.S. officials say the impasse is unlikely to be broken. You see what is happening in terms of nobody like you can understand what is going on in terms of the military, the buildup that the United States is trying to some sort of, huge military buildup in the West Asia, in the Middle East. What is your understanding? Do you think that the attack is coming, and how prepared are both sides?
Well, we have to immediately define, because in United States, the meaning of war is some kind of the mythological entity, because the last real war United States fought was Vietnam. That was the war which also involved some kind of the ground operations. I'm not talking about beating the excrement out of the semi-literate and, basically backward army of Saddam Hussein. When the United States having more than half a year to gather coalition forces and softening basically the country without real air defense. Iran is a completely different story. So American way of war is only one. There is its pattern, everybody knows it. It just hurl whatever the standoff weapons United States has and then pretend that they try to suppress air defense. They think for some reason that they are good at it. And the problem here, obviously, is that the force, which we say huge force, realistically is not huge. If we look at it, this they say 2 carrier battle groups, they will be there. Okay, that's fine. Carrier battle groups are fine. And obviously, each of them can theoretically deploy, depends, let's say roughly 60 strike aircraft. Of the F-18 variety and again and F-35. So if they think that they can just penetrate the airspace in Iran and use JDAMs, I mean, they might encounter real serious surprise. But so the only thing which will be happening there, most likely they will be carrying all those JASSMs, which is standoff weapon. The latest version of it is 900-kilometer range. And that's what allows actually aircraft carriers stay away from the possible strike by the Iranian anti-shipping missiles. But then they have also, by different estimates, about 150, F-35s and some other aircraft, which obviously going to be based on their base in Jordan. While it might seem impressive, it really is not when you consider the scale of Iran, the complexity of terrain, and that United States, obviously, it has some stock of the Tomahawks, Block 5 and Block 4. And but again, many people, that's the problem, obviously, with people like Trump, who has no clue what he's talking about, is that last time, even during the sabotage by Israel, Mossad and Fifth Column in Iran, the air defense of Iran went online, came back online within 10 to 15 hours. And by the time it was starting to go online, it was already working about 70% of effectiveness. So the Iranians have real air defense. And so that remains to be seen what's going to be happening. But you know what? The pattern is always the same. They will be throwing everything they have. But again, United States is incapable of sustaining long-time operations. It's due to their very weak production in the military industrial complex, extremely expensive and ineffective weapons. You remember the last attack at where did they attack? The third of the Tomahawks didn't even explode. So it's a complex issue for them there. And then, of course, yes. We can see on the map, evidently there are several destroyers hanging out in the Persian Gulf. That is not a good idea, to put it mildly. So, and then of course we know that that Iran will retaliate. It was known that it was told to Israel also, you're gonna get it no matter what, because despite the fact that Israel, as usual, lies. That's what they do. They are lying because that's probably prescribed for them, because they're chosen people, they think themselves. And but they will get it. And the only thing the combined West is good at, including the United States, which loses all of its wars, is to do the PR, to do manipulation, to blow smoke into your face or behind. And the reality of this will take time to see what's going to be happening once the smoke will clear. But again, United States, I don't think the United States has resources to sustain required operation against Iran. And here is the issue. Ukraine, granted, that's why the NATO was demilitarized. They were throwing everything they had to support terrorist regime in Kiev. But Ukraine, you can compare it in terms of scale, although smaller population. Iran has a huge population, 90 million people. Russians, if in 4 years, they expanded numbers of the standoff weapons which United States industry cannot produce in 20 years. Yeah, so we'll see. That's the issue, But evidently, even from what I heard, or rather read in media, I'm like OSINT guy, open source intelligence guy. I'm reading newspapers, channels and all that, sift through all kinds of disinformation and noise. But evidently there was, as Larry Johnson also pointed out, there were American generals, American military who came to Trump and said, there is no guarantee of success. We might not get anything out of it. And they may wreck some, sites, including industrial and civilians. NATO is very good at attacking civilians, and but that's about it. And we have to wait and see what's going to happen. Trump is obviously in the catch-22, or them if you do, them if you don't, as they say, because he is controlled by Israel. Congress is totally controlled by Israel. So United States is not a sovereign country. It doesn't have the American government. It's essentially Israeli government, which works in favor of Israel. And so probably going to happen, but that will wreck basically Trump's presidency. Not that he didn't try to do it before. And then again, keep in mind, United States is incapable of conducting massive combined arms operations, which would require, in this case, if they think about occupation, because Iran is not Iraq. Many people do not even understand the abyss. The only hope for the United States, and you know it better than me, of course, the fifth column in Tehran primarily, and that's about it. So that is the pattern. That is the primitive kindergarten level strategic planning on the part of Pentagon and CIA, that, first 20, 25 days, all hurling everything we got. Then, let's see if there will be some mutiny, the fifth column, CIA comes in, tries to overthrow regime, and things continues. So United States cannot sustain any operation beyond about 35 to 45 days. After that, it runs out of most of it. And obviously, United States is scared completely to put any real serious boots on the ground because it's going to end up badly.
Yeah. Andrei, here is the picture that shows the range of Iranian missiles. And, from 300 going up to 2,500, 2,500. And how, in your opinion, what would be the strategy on the part of Iran? And let's assume that the United States start attacking Iran, basically the military bases or the launchers of these missiles.
Yeah.
And is that going to be the first move on the part of the United States? How would Iran react to that? Or maybe...
Absolutely. You're absolutely correct. They will be trying to attack the sites which they reconned already, most likely, and obviously they would like to suppress the air defense. And here comes this issue. So obviously, the moment it starts, immediately Jordan gets it, Israel gets it, and every single American base in the area gets it. I don't know the number of the missiles Iran produced as of lately after the last time, but evidently there's a lot, okay? So, and plus many people still do not recognize one thing, despite the fact and those, chest stomping proclamations about the, killing Hezbollah and all that. Truth is there is still a very developed network of Hezbollah and direct Iranian special services in the region, which can play a significant role in terms of recon, in terms of sabotage, and things of this nature. So we have to wait and see. But yeah, we are definitely in the what is called in Russian military parlance, professional Russian military parlance, threatening period. That's what it's called, threatening period. And after that, we'll have to wait and see where this whole Khan escalation ladder takes us. But the United States tries to do whatever it can now to mitigate their response, obviously. And but again, listen, this is Trump. This is the administration which doesn't operate on the foreign policy, on the American national interest. And so he will commit this act, which will be abhorrent. And then we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Iran is... what we know for sure, Russia is providing Iran with the recon. Iran will be warned, early warning, and things of this nature. So we'll see. I don't know. I don't know what Russia and China also were delivering there, especially China, because there were like 50 flights of their air transports there. So for now, it's just pure speculation.
Yeah. And what about, you mentioned the JASSMs have the range of 900 kilometers. And how about the air defense systems of Iran? If it's Russian or domestic air defense system, what is the range of those air defense systems?
Oh, it's not about the range. It doesn't matter if it intercepts, let's say, JASSM 20 kilometers away or 5. It doesn't matter. It's still intercepted. It doesn't do the damage. So it's JASSM, again, United States is obsessed with this stealth thing, obviously, which is absolutely overrated. And, make no mistake, Russians also operate stealth, basically, military technology. It's just that, it reduces the range of detection and things of this nature. And it all depends also in terms of what semi-sphere. Usually it's frontal semi-sphere where it's stealthy. When it's sideways, you can easily see it, and this is exactly what is happening when you design your air defense system, which are so-called air defense traps, some triangles, which allow you to see even the most difficult targets to see. And so, yeah, it's there are professionals there. They know what they're doing. And again, we do not know what exactly have been supplied to Iran. There is obviously the resonance, couple of resonance radar. They have the range of 1,000 kilometers against the air targets, and they see stealth, no problem, So, and Iran does have those. So, and of course, the Russians most likely will be providing the early warning.
Yeah, and does that include the submarines?
No, no. Russian Navy and surface component, some of the surface component, together with Chinese, are doing right now actually some maneuvering there. There is a Russian corvette Stoiky, which visited Bandera-Bas port. So there is a presence there. But again, you have to understand. Remember what Vladimir Putin stated about 6 to 8 months ago. I don't remember exactly, but I will quote. And you can easily find it in the news and on the Kremlin. He said, we offered Iran cooperation in terms of air defense. Iran declined at that time. That's, I quoted. It's not like, this is the direct quote from Vladimir Putin. So, I mean, did they have, change of heart after that? Most likely. But did they have enough time to do this? I don't know. Do not forget, you know as well as me, there is a certain pro-Western liberal faction in the Iranian government, which maybe as not influential as it was before, but still, they want to play this game. And in some sense, Iran has to play this game of the negotiations. Yeah, negotiate until hell freezes over. Nothing wrong with that. But there is also understanding. And I agree with Mr. Alistair Crook, or Sir Alistair Crook, as I like to call him, or Larry Johnson, or other observers of the region, that Iran is still talking from the position of power. They know that United States is rather shaky on this issue. And again, do not forget, this is not how the real wars are fought. United States, as always, it's like, huff and puff, and we will just destroy you, all this dirty talk, garbage talk in the front of, as usually they do during their, before their boxing or MMA matches. But reality is that it's what you're going to show when you are in the ring. And let me put it this way, real American military record is not impressive in the ring. And they never encountered real enemies such as Iran in real head-on battle. They once tried, remember a few years back, for example, there were Danish officer who was on the one of the air bases, which was hit by Iranian missiles. He was crying. It's unbelievable. They were shell shocked. Obviously, the United States immediately hit the number of whatever happened. We knew there were a number of concussions, serious concussions. They had to be flown back to the United States. And it was like dozens upon dozens, very many people. So were there any killed for United States? United States cannot take losses. It just can't. It never was conditioned. United States military is not conditioned to fight and take losses, period. Simple as that. So as you understand, Iranians understand that. And you have to understand that Iranians are very aware of the fact that if United States decides somehow to put some boots on the ground, that will be the end of Trump administration and a political system will implode, because Vietnam would be just very easy stroll in the park compared to that. But so it's all back to square one. Let's hurl everything we've got, standoff weaponry, so let's recon the targets and strike and see what's going to happen.
Mostly what we hear from the mainstream media, somehow alternative media, that is, if the United States attacks, they're going to destroy the infrastructure, they're going to harm people, they're going to kill people, casualties going to rise. But nobody's talking about what do they have to defend themselves against the Iranians? What are they going to defend themselves by Patriot? How many of these Patriot batteries are present?
Patriot is a joke. I mean, it can intercept some aircraft, but in terms of the fast, even ballistic, although it was created like anti-ballistic, but again, evidently Iran has the maneuverable blocks, which maneuver in the entrance onto the. So obviously, you can call them tentatively hypersonic, but I mean they're not really hypersonic weapons because they still approach everything on the classic ballistic trajectory. It's just that they descend into their, sometimes the spiral type thing. It's it's a difficult target for them, and the rest of it, you remember how Thaad performed in Israel. In a week, they ran out of the third of the Thaad ammo. It's just ridiculous, So, but yeah, they might have gotten some replaced, but that's it. That's the only thing they have. They have the Patriot and Thaad, and that's it. Well, obviously, in terms of their destroyers, that is why they moved them even into the Persian Gulf to create some kind of the screen at the general direction of the missile strikes of Iran, because they think that, SM-2 and SM-6 may intercept those missiles. When you have hundreds of them flying, even three destroyers, even if you have the 80% load up of those 96 cells with the air defense missiles and anti-missiles, what do you have? You have probably what? At best 200 missiles, 250 ballistic and anti-air defense missiles, SM-6 and SM-3, and you're going to run out of them anyway, So Iran has thousands. So, and then again, many people forget one thing: Iran has the cruise missiles, and those fly very low. And then, of course, there is anti-shipping missiles. Whatever Iran received, I don't know. Again, make no mistake. Even if Iran received their first, Russians will not. Will they? I don't know if they're going to give their, let's say, P-800 Onyx with the extended range, which Russians use, which is around 1,000 kilometers. But even if it's 300 kilometers on the Bastion, it's already enough to create a mayhem within the Persian Gulf. And that's why we're looking at a very, tenuous, very tentative situation for the U.S. forces there. God forbid, of course, it happens. We do not want both sides to, but, American servicemen, they just ordered and they will do whatever they ordered to do. And then the hell might break loose, and then Trump will be cornered even more. And again, he is not strategist, neither are people in Pentagon or CIA. They don't know what real strategy is.